All right, let's get into Tory Lanez. This, I feel like it would have broke the internet in 10 pieces if it wasn't for Diddy's trial. Yo, you see a lot of free Tory Lanez going around on Twitter and Instagram, right? You see people like Chris Brown putting up on his Instagram stories, free Tory. For anybody that doesn't know why, you're all of a sudden seeing this new wave of free Tory. This is why. This is why, people.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. Passenger side is where Ms. Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Ms. Pete, did not shoot at Ms. Pete, or did not assault Ms. Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Ms. Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense?
Oh, so give me a second because I want to take a look at his father's reaction to this because he was at this press conference as well. But the prosecution and that side, bear with me. We'll get there. Doesn't look good.
So I thank all of you who have always been an encouragement to us, who have stood with us. Those of you standing here today with free Tory t-shirts. Jano, can I have that t-shirt right there, please? Those of you who are wearing these and remembering this person, because I want you to understand that from the beginning of this, I stood as far back as 2021, and I watched where a spin doctor for the NBA, now high-powered attorney out of New York, Alex Spiro, ran a campaign to turn my son into a monster in the eyes of the world. At that point in time, God said to us, there is a time to be silent and there's a time to speak. We chose to be silent. And now we've been silent for way too long. The hour demands that we speak. One of the reasons why I
ain't gonna lie, he sound like a pastor a little bit. He's definitely gonna be a good vocal representative for his son. But when you see that he said the lawyer for the NBA, okay, we're talking about who? Alex Spiro. Where have we heard his name again recently? He's the one that demolished the lawsuit that Tony Busby brought against Jay-Z. This is also Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, okay? Very high-powered guy. Got to assume that he is extremely well paid, probably retained around the year by certain entities or companies or artists or people. Wow. Check this out. Meg The Stallion'S attorney speaks out after Tory Lanez legal team's press conference. His case was properly adjudicated through the court system. Remember, people, there was already a lot of talk of the Rock Nation, like Tory had to fight that. Okay. So you're fighting not just these allegations or the evidence, lack thereof or not, as well as Meg The Stallion getting up there and saying that he shot me. But you also got this big machine and powers that be behind her from Rock Nation's best interest, i.e., like let's say directly or indirectly, a Jay-Z, one of the most powerful people in the industry, right? You got Alex Spiro, this high-powered attorney that comes with that. There was probably a even more supplementive legal team behind Alex Spiro as well, as far as this case, because this was a high-profile case, the shooting of Meg The Stallion allegedly by Tory Lanez, right? And this is the statement that Alex Spiro put out after this security guard steps forward and goes on the record saying, nah, the best friend shot Meg. This is the statement that he puts out. Megan Thee Stallion's attorney, Alex Spiro, has released the following statement to XXL about Tory Lanez's attorney, now claiming to have evidence that proves Megan was shot by Kelsey Harris. Tory Lanez was, this is now quote, Tory Lanez was tried and convicted by a jury of his peers, and his case was properly adjudicated through the court system. This is not a political matter. This is a case of a violent assault that was resolved in the court of law. I don't like that statement at all. That's nasty work. That maybe it's just me, but the way I interpret a public statement like that is like saying, listen, true or false, regardless whether he shot her or not, it was up to the courts and he went through the legal process. It's almost like an omission, like sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. All we know is he was judged by a panel of his peers. And that, if you live in America, that's the way it goes. But we are human beings, right? We don't believe in like, okay, we got this thing called government, and they have these things that they establish called laws, and we have this thing called the legal system and legal process, right? So because this jury of peers of 12 people got to the decision of saying guilty, that's 1000% it is, and it's got to stay like, no. Any human, even if you believe past the legal system, even at a personal level, yeah, that person is guilty, man. He did that shit, right? If you get more evidence or find out later on that things have changed or there's been new developments, like, oh shit, this person came forward and said, no, I was the shooter, or this person didn't do it, or that person was really the one that did it. We can't stand on this whole, well, the court, you know what I'm saying, system is the system, and a court of your peers judges, and you were adjudicated in the court process, and this is what it, no. This is why it'd be so emotional when we see some of these people come home after 5, 10, 15, 20 years of being judged inaccurately and lost so much of their life behind bars, behind a crime that they didn't do. And then the city turn around and pay them millions of dollars to try to replace the lives that got shaved off of their fucking life, or the years that got shaved off of their life. Like, that's why. And they try to cut them a check. That's what they do. So that whole side of the world that wants to say, oops, my bad that you just spent your last 30 years of your life in prison, take this $10 million. Or, oops, my bad, that may have happened, but hey, it was a court of your peers that came to that decision. I don't like that statement. Am I shocked at that statement? No, he's a fucking attorney. So I expect him to say that statement. But if that's what was on your mind, I wouldn't have said nothing at all. Because that's leading to me. That's almost like overstepping what was said. If you're going to say anything to represent Meg, you come out and say something related to why you believe Tory is guilty. Not that, hey, I don't know about that new stuff, but all I know is he went through the proper process. That's crazy. That's crazy, B. And you see everybody continue to come out and say free Tory Lanez. So here's the question. Here's the question, people. Let's say this is the type of testimony or statements or even evidence or whatever that continues to be moved through the legal process. And let's say Tory Lanez is free. What are y'all doing with Meg The Stallion? What are y'all doing with Meg? Will she be exposed to any legal charges? Right? Is that not perjury? If you get up on a stand and you lie, is that not a charge? Is that not perjury? That's just on the legal side of things. What are y'all doing with her morally? Y'all still rocking with her morally if she did that to this man And now it's coming out with this type of revelations. Like people come, like actually, her friend did it. The one that was given total immunity. She's the one that did it. And yeah, I listened to. I remember refresh my memory the other day. Went and played her diss track that she dropped on Meg. What y'all gonna be doing with Meg? Shit. What are y'all doing with Meg right now? It's some fucked up shit to see.